The next morning brought more alien ships. Word had spread about the giant derelict, and now smaller races came to watch. They kept their distance from the three big fleets, but everyone wanted to see what would happen. Lieutenant Kim Hee-jin had not slept. She spent all night studying the mystery ship's signals. Every hour she found more proof that humans had built it. But why, and why leave it here? "Captain Park," she called. "You need to see this." Park came to her station. On her screen were energy readings from the ship. They showed patterns he recognized. Human military encryption hidden in the background noise. "It's talking to us," Kim said. "Very quietly, but it's sending data." Park studied the patterns. The ship was transmitting status reports. Power levels, system health, weapon readiness, everything an abandoned ship shouldn't be doing. On the main screen, they watched the aliens continue their salvage work. More boarding parties had arrived. Vorthak warriors, Etherian scientists, and mechanist engineers crawled through the ship like ants. Admiral Krextor's voice boomed over the communications. "My warriors found the weapons bay. These primitives used chemical propulsion for their missiles. Chemical, like throwing rocks. The medical facilities are even more absurd than we thought," Sage Luminara added. "They have surgical tools for manual operations. No nano-healers, no bioregeneration. They cut people open with metal blades." Prime Calculator Nexus 7 was exploring the engine room. The power distribution system uses physical cables. Actual wires running through the ship. "The inefficiency is staggering." Dr. Choi Ji-woo shook her head. These aliens couldn't see past their own assumptions. To them, different meant inferior. Simple meant primitive. "They're going to trigger something," Chief Bae Min-soo said suddenly. He pointed at his weapons display. "Look at these energy spikes. The ship doesn't like strangers touching its systems." As if hearing him, alarms began sounding on the derelict. Red lights flashed through its corridors. Doors slammed shut, trapping some of the boarding parties. "What's happening?" Krextor roared. "My warriors are locked in." "Security protocol activation," Nexus 7 reported calmly. "The ship's computer has classified us as intruders." "Then shut it down," Luminara ordered. "Use your superior mechanist technology." Nexus 7 tried. His cybernetic specialist connected to the ship's computers. But something strange happened. The simple systems the aliens had mocked proved impossible to hack. They were too basic. No wireless access, no neural interfaces. Just solid-state circuits that ignored every advanced intrusion attempt. Commander Lee Sung-ho laughed quietly. "They can't hack what doesn't have a back door." On the derelict, messages began appearing on screens. They were in a language the aliens didn't recognize. Rows of simple symbols that meant nothing to them. But Kim could read them. They were in an old Earth military code. Warning: unauthorized access detected. Initiating containment protocols. "Captain, should we warn them?" Ensign Yoon asked. Park shook his head. "Our orders are to observe. Nothing more." The trapped aliens started to panic. Krextor's warriors tried to blast through the doors. Their energy weapons, so advanced and powerful, barely scratched the primitive metal. The doors were made of materials that absorbed energy instead of being damaged by it. "Use explosives," Krextor ordered. "Negative," Nexus 7 replied. "My scans show the doors will channel explosive force back at us." Clever design for primitive builders. Luminara's energy form flickered with frustration. "There must be a control system. Find it." The aliens searched desperately, but every control panel required physical interaction. No thought control, no energy manipulation, just buttons and switches that needed hands to operate them. Hands the right size and shape. Human hands. Meanwhile, other parts of the ship came alive. In the fighter bays, maintenance robots activated. They began checking fighters that had waited 50 years for pilots who never came. The robots ignored the aliens completely, focused on their programmed tasks. "Those machines," Luminara observed. "They're so simple. No AI, no adaptive programming. Just basic instructions repeated endlessly. And yet they still work," Nexus 7 noted. After decades of abandonment, the three leaders were starting to realize something important. The ship wasn't malfunctioning. It was working exactly as designed. Every system they had mocked had a purpose. Kim made another discovery. Hidden in the ship's transmission was a crew manifest. The names were encoded, but she could read them. Captain John Ho-seok, Lieutenant An Soo-jin, Sergeant Kang Dae-hyun. Hundreds of names. All human. "Sir," she told Park, "this ship had a full crew. They left in a hurry, but they programmed it to wait for them to return." "Wait for how long?" Park asked. Forever, sir. The ship will wait forever. The situation on the derelict got worse. More security systems activated. Not weapons. The ship wasn't trying to kill the intruders. It was just trying to contain them. Force fields appeared, creating maze-like paths. Artificial gravity shifted, making some corridors impossible to cross. This is intolerable. Krextor raged. I'm bringing in heavy weapons. We'll cut this ship apart. Wait, Luminara said. Something in her voice had changed. Look at what it's doing. It's not random. The ship is hurting us, she was right. The security systems were slowly pushing all the aliens toward the cargo bays. Safe areas where they could be contained without harm. It's trying to protect us, she realized. Even as intruders, it's trying not to hurt us. This made no sense to them. Vorthak security systems killed intruders. Etherian systems disintegrated them. Mechanist systems converted them to spare parts. But this ship just wanted them to leave safely. Dr. Choi smiled. They're starting to understand. Humans build differently because we think differently. The ship's intercom system crackled to life. A recorded voice spoke in the same unknown language. Kim translated for Park. Attention unauthorized personnel. You have 10 minutes to evacuate. This vessel will begin defensive protocols. For your safety, please exit immediately. The aliens couldn't understand the words, but they understood the tone. It was polite but firm. The ship was asking nicely. For now, we're leaving, Luminara decided. All Etherian personnel return to our ships. The Vorthak do not retreat. Krextor snarled. Then the Vorthak can stay and see what defensive protocols mean. Luminara replied. I suspect we won't like the answer. Nexus 7 had been running calculations. The ship's power output is increasing exponentially. If it continues, it will have enough energy to significant defensive capabilities. Even Krextor wasn't stupid enough to ignore that. He ordered his warriors out, though he complained the entire time about cowardice and dishonor. The aliens retreated to their ships. As the last one left, the derelict's security systems shut down. The lights dimmed. It went back to sleep, waiting again. But something had changed. In the ship's computer core, ancient programs had fully awakened. They began transmitting on frequencies only human ships could detect. Status reports, sensor data, and one repeating message. TCS-117 Indomitable ready for crew return. All systems nominal. Awaiting orders. Park received new instructions from Earth Command. They were simple. Continue observation. Phase 2 initiated. Reveal nothing. The 3 alien fleets stayed near the derelict, arguing about what to do next. They had been humiliated by a primitive ship. Their advanced technology had failed against simple, sturdy systems. Kim intercepted their communications. The tone had changed. Less mockery now. More confusion and a little bit of fear. Perhaps, Sage Luminara suggested carefully, we should study this vessel more carefully. These builders might not be as primitive as we thought. Impossible, Krextor grumbled, but even he sounded unsure. The evidence suggests otherwise, Nexus 7 stated. We should reevaluate our assumptions. Park smiled. Phase 2 was working perfectly. The aliens were starting to question what they knew. Soon they would learn the truth. But not yet. First, they needed to understand that primitive didn't mean weak, and human technology might be simple, but it was never, ever primitive. The old ship floated in the darkness between stars. It was huge, 15 kilometers of metal and silence. No lights shone from its windows. No engines burned. It just drifted, spinning slowly like a forgotten toy. Captain Park Dong-wook watched it through his view screen. He sat in the command chair of the Shadow Walker, a small human ship hiding nearby. His crew worked quietly around him. They had been watching for 3 days now. Captain, 3 alien fleets are approaching, Lieutenant Kim Hyejin said. She was his chief engineer and very good at her job. They will arrive in 20 minutes. Park nodded. He had expected this. The alien races always came when they found something interesting in space. Keep us hidden, Lieutenant. We are just here to watch. The first to arrive were the Vorthak. Their ships looked like metal daggers, sharp and dangerous. Admiral Krextor commanded them. Park had read about him, a warrior who thought strength was everything. Next came the Etherians. Their ships glowed with soft blue light. They were beings made of energy, and they thought they were smarter than everyone else. Sage Luminara led them, floating in her crystal chamber. Last were the mechanists, half machine, half living creature. They came in ships that looked like flying factories. Prime Calculator Nexus 7 was their leader. He never showed emotion, only cold logic. All three fleets stopped near the giant derelict ship. They began scanning it. "Listen to their communications," Park ordered. Ensign Yoon Tae-young, barely 25 years old, worked his console. Soon, alien voices filled the bridge. "Look at this ancient garbage," Admiral Krextor growled. "The weapons are projectile-based. Who uses bullets in space? Only primitives." Sage Luminara's voice tinkled like bells. "The computer systems are laughably simple. No neural interfaces, just buttons and screens." "How quaint." "Inefficient design," Nexus 7 stated flatly. "Multiple backup systems where one would suffice. Waste of resources." The builders were clearly inferior. Park's crew listened as the aliens continued mocking the ship. Everything about it seemed primitive to them. The thick armor plates instead of energy shields. The manual control systems. The huge medical bays and crew quarters. "They have exercise rooms." Krexter laughed. "What kind of weak species needs to run in circles to stay strong?" Commander Lee Sung-ho leaned toward Park. He was the ship's military expert, an older man with gray hair. "Sir, they don't understand what they're looking at." "No," Park agreed quietly. "They don't." Dr. Choi Ji-woo floated near the science station. As their alien culture expert, she found the situation fascinating. Each race judges the ship by their own standards. They cannot imagine anyone building differently by choice. The three alien fleets began arguing about who owned the salvage rights. The ship was in neutral space, so no one had a clear claim. "The Vorthak Empire found it first," Krexter roared. "Irrelevant," Nexus 7 replied. "The Mechanist Union is best equipped to study it." "Study?" Luminara laughed, a sound like wind chimes. "This primitive hulk? The Etherian Collective will take it apart for scrap." They argued for an hour. Finally, they agreed to explore it together. Small ships left each fleet and flew toward the derelict. Kim studied her instruments carefully. Something bothered her about the giant ship's design. The proportions were familiar. The way the hull sections connected. "Even the placement of sensor arrays, Captain," she whispered. I think I recognize the design philosophy." Park looked at her sharply. "Are you certain?" "Not yet. But something about it feels human." The alien boarding parties reached the ship. They cut through the hull and went inside. Park's crew watched through hidden sensors as the aliens explored. "Primitive artificial gravity using rotating sections," Krextor reported. "We use gravity fields. Much better." "The medical bay is enormous," Luminara observed. 40% larger than needed. These builders knew nothing about efficiency. Multiple computer cores all running the same simple programs, Nexus 7 added. Redundancy taken to absurd levels. But as they went deeper into the ship, strange things happened. Lights began turning on by themselves. Doors opened before they reached them. The ship was waking up. "The power systems still function," Luminara said, surprised. "After all this time?" "Impossible," Krextor argued. "No power source lasts that long without maintenance." Chief Petty Officer Bae Min-soo watched the weapons readings. He was a quiet man who rarely spoke, but Park trusted him completely. "Sir, the ship's weapons are coming online. Very slowly, but they're activating." Park frowned. This wasn't supposed to happen. The ship should be completely dead. The aliens found the bridge. It was huge, with stations for dozens of crew members. Everything was manual: switches, levers, screens. No neural links or thought control interfaces. How did they fly this thing? Krextor wondered. You would need 50 people just to manage basic operations. Primitives, Luminara agreed. They built big because they couldn't build smart. That's when Kim made her discovery. She had been analyzing the ship's emissions, the tiny traces of radiation that all ships gave off. The signature was hidden, almost invisible, but it was there. "Captain," she said urgently. "That ship, it's one of ours." Park felt his heart skip. "Are you sure?" "The quantum signature matches our fleet protocols. It's disguised, but it's definitely human." Park's mind raced. If this was a human ship, why was it here? Why was it abandoned? And why hadn't Earth Command told him about it? His console beeped. A message appeared, encrypted in codes only human military used. Park read it quickly. Asset confirmed. Maintain observation. Do not engage, so Command knew. They had been expecting this. On the view screen, the three alien groups continued exploring. They found more things to mock. The crew quarters were wastefully large. Kitchens could prepare thousands of different meals, not unnecessary variety. The ship carried projectile weapons alongside energy weapons, indecisive design. But Dr. Choi noticed something else. Captain, look at their positions. The aliens are spreading out through the ship. Park saw it too. They were separating, each group claiming different sections. Soon they would start fighting over who could keep what. This is going to escalate, Lee said quietly. When three powers want the same prize, Park nodded. He knew Lee was right, but his orders were clear. Watch and wait. Do not engage. The Shadow Walker hung in space, invisible and silent. Its crew watched as the aliens explored the human ship they didn't know was human. They mocked the technology they didn't understand. They dismissed the builders as primitive fools. Kim continued her scans. The more she learned about the mystery ship, the more impressed she became. The primitive design was actually brilliant. Every system had backups. Every weapon had multiple power sources. The thick armor could take hits that would destroy an energy shield. They built it to last forever, she murmured, and to work when everything else fails. The aliens couldn't see it. They were too used to their own technology, their own way of thinking. They couldn't imagine someone choosing to build simple and strong instead of complex and fragile. As the day ended, Park received another message from Command. This one was even shorter. Phase 1 complete. Prepare for Phase 2. Park didn't know what Phase 2 was, but he had a feeling the aliens would soon learn that mocking human technology was a very big mistake. Outside, the giant ship continued its slow spin. Its lights grew brighter. Deep in its hull, systems that had slept for 50 years began to wake up. The aliens didn't notice. They were too busy laughing at the primitive humans who could never build such a vessel. They would learn the truth soon, and 1 month after the revelation, the galaxy had turned upside down. Every major government held emergency meetings. Intelligence agencies rewrote their files. Military commanders recalculated their strategies. The humans they had ignored were suddenly the most important topic everywhere. Fleet Admiral Oh Hae-won stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, Harmony. She was the highest-ranking human officer, a woman who had spent 40 years preparing for this moment. Around her, human ships dropped their cloaking devices across the galaxy. The secret fleet was revealing itself completely. Reports came in from everywhere. A human destroyer appearing near a Calyx mining station, a carrier showing itself in Etherian space. Dozens of ghost ships that had protected trade routes for years finally showing their true colors. Minister Jung Seo-jun worked without rest in Earth's capital. As head of foreign relations, he had to manage first contact with races who thought they already knew humanity. His office received thousands of messages daily. Some angry, some curious, many afraid. The Vorthak Emperor wants to meet, his assistant reported. He's actually being polite, Jung smiled. Good. What about the others? The Etherian Collective requests scientific exchanges. The Mechanist Union wants to study our hybrid technology. 14 minor races are asking for protection treaties. It was working. Fear was turning to curiosity. Anger was becoming respect. Captain Park had been given a new mission. He commanded a task force showing human capabilities to doubters. Today he was visiting the Thilek system, where pirates had ruled for decades. Local governments had given up fighting them. Captain, we're approaching the pirate base, Lieutenant Kim reported. Any response to our warnings? Park asked. They're laughing at us, sir. They say human ships are fake, propaganda. Park sighed. Some people had to learn the hard way. Very well. Commander Lee, minimum force. I want prisoners, not martyrs. The battle lasted 4 minutes. Human ships moved like dancers, avoiding enemy fire while placing their own shots precisely. No killing blows, just disabled engines and weapons. The feared pirate fleet that had terrorized the system for decades floated helpless in space. Broadcast to the system, Park ordered. The Thilek system is now under human protection. Piracy ends today. The local government's response was immediate and grateful. Another system saved. Another group learning that humans meant what they said. Back on Earth, Dr. Lim Na-young was busy with her integration program. She had invited scientists from every major race to study human technology. The meeting was interesting. You use chemical reactions for backup power? A mechanist engineer said in disbelief. That's ancient technology. Ancient but reliable, Lim replied. When your quantum cores failed during the Nexus storm, what powered your life support? The engineer went quiet. They had nearly died when their advanced systems failed in that cosmic storm. A Vorthak weapons specialist was examining human ammunition. These projectiles have 17 different damage types in one shell. How? Simple, Dr. Moon explained. We asked ourselves what every species was vulnerable to, then put it all together. Why carry 17 weapons when one bullet can do everything? The real breakthrough came when Captain Shin Woo-jin arrived with his diplomatic vessel, Unity. It was built using technology from every major race, combined with human design philosophy. Shields from the Etherians, armor from the Vorthak, computers from the Mechanists, all working together. This is what we offer, Shin announced. Not human dominance, but galactic cooperation. Everyone's strength covering everyone's weakness. The Unity performed demonstrations. Its mixed systems worked better together than separately. When energy shields failed, physical armor took over. When advanced computers glitched, simple backups kicked in. When exotic weapons malfunctioned, basic kinetics still worked. We've been fools, admitted the Etherian scientist. We were so proud of our specializations, we forgot the value of diversity. 3 months passed. The galaxy was changing faster than anyone expected. Human protection fleets were officially recognized. Pirates and warlords found themselves facing opponents they couldn't beat or bribe. Weak races suddenly had strong friends, but not everyone was happy. In dark corners of space, the 3 major empires' extremists met in secret. Some Vorthak wanted war, some Etherians wanted to steal human secrets, some Mechanists wanted to dissect human ships. We can take them, a Vorthak general growled. They're still outnumbered, are they? Asked an Etherian radical. How many hidden ships do they still have? They were planning attacks when their meeting was interrupted. Admiral Oh Hae-won's image appeared on their screens. She was calm, almost grandmotherly, but her eyes were steel. Gentlemen, ladies, artificial intelligences, she said. We know you're there. We know what you're planning. This is your only warning. Stand down! You can't threaten us! The Vorthak general snarled. I'm not threatening, Oh replied. I'm informing you that 17 human ships are surrounding your location. You have 3 minutes to surrender. They didn't believe her. Space was empty. Their sensors showed nothing. 2 minutes and 50 seconds later, 17 human ships dropped their cloaks. The extremists surrendered immediately. The incident scared the major governments into action. They realized they had a choice: work with humanity or risk their extremists starting a war nobody could win. The Galactic Council called its first universal meeting in 50 years. Every race with spaceflight was invited. The location was symbolic, the Indomitable itself now serving as a neutral meeting ground. Captain Jian welcomed delegates aboard his ship. Thousands of beings from hundreds of races walked halls that had been designed for exactly this purpose. The ship humans had built in secret could hold them all. Fleet Admiral O gave the opening speech. For too long, this galaxy has been divided, strong against weak, advanced against simple, each race alone against the dark. We offer another way. She outlined the human proposal, a united fleet combining everyone's strengths. Protection for all races, not just the powerful. Technology sharing that helped everyone advance together. Some will say humans want to rule, she continued, but we've had the power to conquer for decades. Instead, we protected you. Judge us by our actions, not your fears. The debates lasted days. Arguments, accusations, fear, and hope all mixed together. But slowly, agreement emerged. The minor races spoke of human protection. Former pirates testified about human mercy. Scientists shared discoveries from human cooperation. Even Krextor, the Vorthak admiral who had first mocked the Indomitable, stood to speak. I was wrong, he said simply. I judged strength by my own definition. Humans showed me strength can mean protection, not just destruction. The Vorthak Empire supports this alliance. One by one, races agreed. Not all of them, not completely, but enough. The United Galactic Fleet was born. Its first flagship would be the Indomitable, with a mixed crew from every member race. Captain Park was given a new rank, Galactic Admiral. The first human to command ships from every race. He stood on the Indomitable's bridge, watching his diverse crew work together. Sir, Lieutenant Kim reported. She now wore the insignia of the United Fleet. We have our first mission. Raiders attacking a colony in Sector 7. All ships prepare to jump, Park ordered. Around the Indomitable, the United Fleet gathered. Human simplicity, Vorthak strength, Etherian grace, Mechanist precision, and dozens of other races' specialties. All working as one. Execute, Park commanded. The fleet jumped together into hyperspace. For the first time in galactic history, they moved not as conquerors or defenders of single races, but as protectors of all. 5 years later, the galaxy was transformed. The United Fleet had ended piracy in 17 sectors. New colonies flourished under protection. Technology advanced faster than ever as races shared knowledge. The Indomitable had become a symbol. What aliens had mocked as primitive was now the most respected ship in space. Its manual controls meant anyone could fly it. Its simple systems meant it never failed. Its human design meant it protected everyone equally. In schools across the galaxy, children learned the lesson of the supercarrier. Don't judge by appearances. Simple can be strong. Different isn't inferior. And sometimes the most advanced technology is the one that always works. Humanity's secret was out. They weren't conquerors or rulers. They were builders and protectors. They were the friends the galaxy needed but never knew it had. And in the vast darkness between stars, human ships still watched. Still protected. But now they didn't watch alone. The galaxy watched with them, united at last. The meeting took place on the Indomitable. Admiral Song had invited the 3 alien leaders aboard, and they had accepted. They had no choice. The human fleet still surrounded them, and that single missile still floated outside Krextor's window as a reminder. Captain Park stood with Admiral Song as they welcomed their guests. The aliens moved carefully, looking at everything with new eyes. What they had mocked before now seemed different, dangerous. The conference room was simple. A large table, chairs designed for different species, and walls displaying the stars outside. No fancy holograms or energy fields, just a room where beings could talk. Professor Nam Kyung-soon entered. She was old, with white hair and kind eyes, but her mind was sharp. She would explain humanity's history to the aliens. The real history. Please sit, Song said. We have much to discuss. Krextor remained standing. You tricked us, lied to us. This is not honor. We hid, Song corrected. There's a difference. When a new species appears in the galaxy, what happens to them? If they're strong, they're seen as threats and attacked. If they're weak, they're conquered. We chose a third option. Dr. Moon Yerim joined them, carrying a small device. She was younger than Nam, brilliant in weapons design. She placed the device on the table. It looked like a simple metal box. This is a human shield generator, she said. Would you like to examine it? Nexus 7 scanned it immediately. Primitive design. Energy output barely sufficient for personal protection. Efficiency rating of only 23%. Correct? Moon smiled. Now watch. She pressed a button. The box projected a weak shield just as the scan suggested. Then she fired an energy weapon at it. The shield collapsed instantly, you see? Krextor said. Human technology is... Moon held up her hand. She pressed another button. The shield came back looking exactly the same. But this time when she fired, the energy beam bent around it. A third button and projectiles bounced off. A fourth and radiation passed through harmlessly. Same power output, she explained. But 4 different configurations. Your scanners read what we want them to read. Show weakness when we're strong. Show strength when we're setting a trap. The aliens stared at the simple box with new respect. If humans could hide that much capability in basic technology. Professor Nam began her presentation. The wall screen showed images as she talked. Humanity reached space 170 years ago, not 50. We found a galaxy at war. The strong dominated the weak. Technology was used for conquest, not protection. Images appeared of human ships observing alien battles. Recording, learning. We made a choice. We would develop in secret. Some humans would live openly, trading and appearing harmless. Others would build our real strength hidden from your eyes. The screen showed human colonies the aliens had never known existed. Shipyards building fleets in dark space between stars. Research stations developing hybrid technologies. Every time you conquered a race, we saved some of them. Every time you abandoned technology as obsolete, we studied it. Every time you mocked something as primitive, we asked ourselves why it might be useful. Captain Ryu Jinwoo entered with Ambassador Hong Subin. Ryu commanded humanity's newest carrier, even larger than the Indomitable. Hong was there to make sure the aliens understood this wasn't about war. We mean you no harm, Hong said. If we wanted to conquer, we would have done it decades ago. Instead, we protected the helpless and waited for this day. What day? Luminara asked. The day we could reveal ourselves without starting a war. You've seen our strength. Now let us show you something more important. They were taken on a tour of the Indomitable. Not the weapons or shields, those were just tools. Instead, they saw how humans lived and worked. The medical bay that could treat any species. The kitchens that could prepare 10,000 different meals because every culture deserved their own food. The exercise areas because bodies needed care, not just minds. The manual controls that anyone could use regardless of their biology or technology. You build for everyone, Luminara realized. Not just humans, of course, Park said. A ship should work for whoever needs it. That's why we use simple systems. A Vorthak can push our buttons. An Etherian can manipulate our switches. Even species without advanced technology can learn to use our tools. They visited the engineering deck. Chief Kim showed them the power systems. Multiple reactors, each independent, each with different fuel sources. If one fails, others continue. If we can't find antimatter, we use fusion. If fusion fails, we have fission. If everything fails, we have chemical batteries. The ship never dies. Inefficient, Nexus 7 said, but without his usual certainty. Is it? Kim asked. Your ship needs trilithium crystals. What happens when you can't find any? Ours runs on anything that burns. The weapons bay was next. Dr. Moon explained the human philosophy of warfare. Every shield can be beaten. Every armor can be pierced. Every system can fail. So we prepare for everything. Energy weapons for shields, kinetic weapons for armor, cyber warfare for computers. And when all else fails, she patted a simple projectile cannon. A chunk of metal moving very fast still ruins anyone's day. Krextor found himself respecting these humans. They thought like warriors, just different warriors. They prepared for defeat as much as victory. The tour ended back in the conference room. Captain John Hosiok had joined them. He was younger than Park expected, with scarred hands and tired eyes. This was the man who had commanded the Indomitable during the silent war nobody knew about. My ship protected 17 colonies, he said simply. Fought off 23 pirate fleets. Saved approximately 2 million lives, all without anyone knowing humans were involved. Why? Krextor asked. Why hide your glory? Because glory gets people killed, John replied. We wanted to save lives, not become famous. Admiral Song activated a galactic map. Hundreds of points lit up across known space. Human ships, she said, hidden like the Indomitable was. Each one waiting, watching, protecting shipping lanes, defending colonies, keeping peace. We have been the galaxy's silent guardians for decades. The implications hit hard. Every safe trade route. Every mysterious rescue. Every time pirates vanished without explanation. Humans. You could have ruled us, Luminara said quietly. We could have, Song agreed. But rulers make enemies. Protectors make friends. Which would you rather have? The discussion continued for hours. The aliens had to rethink everything. Humans weren't primitive, they were practical. They weren't weak, they were subtle. They weren't newcomers. They were patient watchers who had learned from everyone's mistakes. Dr. Lim Na-young arrived near the end. She was the architect of humanity's integration plan. Young, enthusiastic, she believed in cooperation over conquest. We offer partnership, she said. Our technology combined with yours. Our protection alongside your strength. Our simple solution supporting your advanced systems. Why should we trust you? Nexus 7 asked. You've lied for decades. Because we're revealing ourselves now, Hong answered. We could have stayed hidden forever. Instead, we're choosing to trust you with our secret. The meeting was ending. The alien leaders had much to discuss with their governments. But first, Krextor had one more question. The missile. The one outside my ship. What makes it special? Captain John smiled for the first time. Nothing. It's completely ordinary. Standard human fleet missile. We have millions of them. The message was clear. Human ordinary was extraordinary enough. As the aliens prepared to leave, Song made one final point. The galaxy is changing. New threats are coming from beyond our borders. We can face them separately or we can face them together. Your choice. The alien leaders left with much to think about. The galaxy they thought they knew had changed in a single day. Humanity wasn't what they seemed, and perhaps that was the most human trait of all. 3 days passed in tense silence. The alien fleets kept their distance from the derelict ship, but nobody left. They watched it like hunters watching dangerous prey. Sometimes lights would flicker in its windows. Sometimes a door would open and close for no reason. The ship was alive, and that scared them. Captain Park received a message that changed everything. It came from Admiral Song Yunji herself. commander of Earth's hidden fleet. Her face appeared on his private screen, serious but calm. Captain Park, it's time. The Indomitable has been alone long enough. Bring her home, Park's heart raced. They were going to reveal themselves. After decades of hiding, humanity would show its true strength. Lieutenant Kim, prepare to drop our stealth systems, he ordered. But not yet. Wait for my signal. The crew exchanged nervous glances. They all knew what this meant. Once the galaxy knew about humanity's real capabilities, everything would change. On the alien command ships, arguments continued. The three leaders couldn't agree on what to do with the derelict. Their boarding attempt had failed embarrassingly, but none of them wanted to leave empty-handed. I propose we destroy it, Admiral Krextor suggested. If we can't have it, no one should. Illogical, Nexus 7 replied. The vessel represents unique technology. Destruction would be wasteful. Then we study it from outside, Luminara said. Map its systems, learn its secrets safely. They were still arguing when the derelict did something new. Its main communications array turned toward empty space and sent out a powerful signal. The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. What was that? Krextor demanded. Unknown, Nexus 7 admitted. The signal used quantum entanglement protocols we don't recognize. They didn't have to wait long for an answer. Space itself seemed to ripple. Where there had been nothing, ships appeared. 12 vessels dropped out of stealth mode, surrounding the alien fleets. They were human ships, but not like the small, weak human vessels the galaxy knew about. These were warships, sleek and dangerous, mixing familiar human design with technologies the aliens had never seen. Admiral Song's flagship, the Soul, took position directly between the aliens and the derelict. Her image appeared on every alien view screen. Greetings. I am Admiral Song Yunji of the Terran Confederate Navy. You have found our ship. We've come to take it home. The aliens reacted with shock and disbelief. Impossible, Krextor roared. Humans don't have cloaking technology. You don't have fleets like this. Your species just achieved faster-than-light travel 50 years ago, Luminara added, her energy form flickering with confusion. You're newcomers. Children playing with technology you don't understand. Song smiled politely. That's what we wanted you to think. Park dropped the Shadow Walker's stealth systems. Suddenly, 13 human ships surrounded the aliens. Each one was different, but they all shared the same design philosophy as the derelict. Simple, sturdy, effective. That vessel you've been examining is the TCS Indomitable, Song continued. Captain John Hosiok commanding. Or was before we staged her abandonment 50 years ago. Staged? Nexus 7 processed this. You left it here deliberately? Of course. We needed to know how the galaxy would react to human technology. Thank you for the demonstration. The insult stung. The 3 alien races realized they had been watched, studied. Their mockery recorded and analyzed. You dare spy on us? Krextor's ships powered weapons. The Vorthak Empire will teach you respect. I wouldn't, Song said mildly. Captain Park, please demonstrate why. Park nodded to Chief Bay. The weapons officer touched his console. On every alien ship, alarms screamed. Targeting locks appeared, dozens of them from each human vessel. But the truly frightening part was what they were targeting. Not shields or weapons. The human systems had locked onto life support systems, engine cores, and command decks. Every vital system was targeted simultaneously. How? Luminara gasped. Our shields are designed to stop energy weapons, Song explained. Our targeting systems use quantum resonance. Your shields don't even slow them down. The aliens checked their own weapons. They couldn't lock onto the human ships. Every targeting attempt failed. The human vessels seemed to slip away from their sensors like smoke. Adaptive hull plating, Kim explained to her crewmates. It learns from enemy sensors and adjusts. Simple concept, but it works. The Indomitable began to power up fully. Lights blazed from every deck. Its engines rumbled to life with a sound the aliens felt in their bones. Weapon ports opened, revealing not the primitive projectile weapons they expected, but hybrid systems that merged kinetic and energy technology in ways they didn't understand. You see, Song continued, humanity has been in space much longer than you know. We watched you, all of you. We learned what you do well and, more importantly, what you assume everyone must do. She gestured at the massive derelict. You mock our manual controls? When the Cytherian Empire fell because one computer virus infected their entire neural-linked fleet, we took notes. You laugh at our projectile weapons? When the Calyx shields failed against simple kinetic strikes, we remembered. Dr. Choi had been right. Each alien race had assumed everyone thought like them, built like them, had the same weaknesses. Humans had built to counter everyone. This is deception, Krextor snarled. Humans are weak. You hide on your little worlds, trading and begging for protection. Some of us do, Song agreed. The ones you're allowed to see. But tell me, Admiral, have you ever wondered why pirates never attack human colonies? Why our trade ships always arrive safely, even through dangerous space? The truth hit them slowly. Every mysterious disappearance, every pirate fleet that vanished, every time a small race suddenly found protection from unknown benefactors. You've been protecting them, Luminara whispered. The minor races, the weak ones. You've been doing it in secret. Someone had to, Park said, breaking his silence. The strong prey on the weak in this galaxy. We decided to even the odds. The Vorthak fleet began maneuvering aggressively. They outnumbered the human ships 3-1. Krextor still thought he could win through force. All ships prepare to fire, he ordered. We'll take their secrets from their wreckage. The human ships didn't react. They just waited. Song looked almost sad. Captain Jean, she said quietly. Your ship, I believe. A new voice spoke from the Indomitable. Calm, professional, and absolutely confident. TCS Indomitable responding. All hands battle stations. Weapons free. Protect the fleet. The massive ship turned with impossible grace for something its size. Weapons emerged from its hull. Not dozens, not hundreds, but thousands. Point defense guns, missile tubes, energy projectors, and things the aliens couldn't identify. Primitive weapons, Krextor sneered. Then he saw the targeting data. Every one of his ships was locked. Every fighter, every bomber, every capital ship. The Indomitable could engage them all. At once, fire! He screamed. The Vorthak fleet unleashed everything they had. Energy beams, plasma torpedoes, quantum missiles. The space around the Indomitable turned into a storm of destruction. When the light faded, the human ship was untouched. Its primitive armor had absorbed some hits. Its simple shields had deflected others. But the truly amazing part was the point defense. Every missile, every torpedo had been shot down by primitive projectile weapons that didn't care about electronic warfare or shield frequency. My turn, Captain John said. The Indomitable fired once. A single missile from a single tube. It moved slowly, almost lazily, toward Krextor's flagship. The Admiral ordered all weapons to destroy it. Energy beams hit it, nothing. Interceptor missiles exploded around it. The human missile adjusted course and continued. It stopped 1 meter from the flagship's bridge window. And waited. The next one won't stop, Song said. Stand down. All of you, the fight was over. It had lasted 30 seconds, Luminara spoke first. We need to reconsider everything we thought we knew about humans. Yes, Song agreed. You do.